everybody. I'm Charlene Shirk. I am your host of Digital Champions, where we speak to some of the most innovative thinkers in the digital space. And we're very excited today to have Will Haire from BellaVix company. He is joining us today, and I think you're all going to be super interested in what he has to say because he has a very interesting niche. Will, thanks so much for joining us today.
Excellent, Charlene. Thanks for having me, and I'm super excited to be here to talk about my favorite topic, and that's e-commerce and marketplaces.
Yes, making money for everybody online. I think it's everybody's favorite subject. So share with our folks a little bit more about your company.
Excellent. So BellaVix is a marketplace management company, and we help established retail brands kind of penetrate and grow on the world's largest marketplaces, and this includes Amazon and Walmart.
And that's such a competitive marketplace. I mean, there's so much out there. How do you help people stand out? I mean, is that their basic kind of the problem you solve when they come to you is, hey, we've got this great product, but there's just so much noise out there. We just feel like we're not getting enough attention.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest challenge. And Amazon and most of the marketplaces in general, they've kind of transformed from, what used to be retail arbitrage and just getting something cheap and flipping it and being more for brands and established brands who are concerned about the experience, their customer experience, their brand experience on the platform, and of course, delivering their products to customers as they're in market. So a lot of the challenges is around how do we get your products to stand out? How do we get to rank in the A9 or the Walmart algorithm so that your products show up first?
And so if somebody comes to you and they say, okay, what's a perfect example of I'm selling this X, but there's like 10 other X's. And I know when I go into Amazon and I'm, putting in I'm looking for this, and then, these come up. Is that what you're in essence doing? Is it making sure that my product is coming up when somebody like me is just searching for a need?
Yep, nailed it. And that's part of it. So to be clear, you want to be on the platform and you want to show up when people are searching, but there are other factors to consider. How many reviews does your product have compared to the market? What's your price point compared? What's the delivery? Are you doing fulfilled by merchant, fulfilled by Amazon? Are you able to hit a 2-day shipping window if you're fulfilling yourself? And then we work with more established brands, so larger retail brands that tend to have a national presence in retail or big box stores, and they face challenges like how do we get our third party and wholesalers to honor MAP pricing? How do we make sure that people who are selling certain products on these different marketplaces are selling legitimate products that are not counterfeit, and that they're delivering the brand and customer experience that we expect for any of our partners who are selling these products? So simply put, we're going to help scale your brand by having this consistent experience and make sure that we're using marketing, we're using promotions, we're doing advertising, we're doing all these different things to kind of help you grow. But understand that it's still a marketplace and there needs to be some work on your end in establishing your presence and building your brand.
And so what's the biggest piece of advice you would give someone if you're at a cocktail party and they're like, yeah, I'm going to put my stuff on Amazon, or I have my Amazon and I'm not getting, the traction I want. What's the one bit of advice that you would give them?
Beautiful. So if they're launching and they're not on Amazon, I would say don't launch on Amazon first. Build your website presence and your brand. So Amazon works most effectively, and it's kind of a brand oriented. There's of course like certain categories where people might be brand agnostic, and there's different strategies for that. But we're focusing on brand. So my advice would be make sure you're doing social media, make sure you're working with influencers, make sure you're building an audience because it's naturally going to spill over to Amazon as they discover your product through upper marketing channels. So lifestyle discovery in market. They're not directly establishing those connections on Amazon. When they're on Amazon, they're at the bottom of the funnel. So now they know they have a problem and they're reviewing products that they already kind of vetted out. The higher the price point of your product, the more likely is that they're discovering your product off of Amazon. And what I like to say to all of our partners that 50% of growth on Amazon or Walmart will happen on the marketplace. And that's what my business does. We're going to advertise, we're going to use programmatic, and we're going to get your product in front of a lot of in-market shoppers. But the other 50% comes from brand building. If you're not a brand, and there's a whole wholesale retail arbitrage methodology that does work, that's just not what our business does. And for those brands that want to grow and see long-term growth that are not competing on the lowest price and doing a bidding war that way, we work with the brands that are going to establish that that presence. And that would be my advice. Build your brand, build brand equity. It goes a long way. Brands that have been here for a lifetime, they spend a lifetime building the brand equity, why we see them on TV and in retail. And it's not done overnight.
Well, thank you so much for explaining how that works, kind of behind the curtain, how all of that stuff works. What a great niche. Will, thank you so much for joining. I know, and I feel like you are too. So thanks so much for joining us today, Will.
Thanks for having me, Charlene.
Oh, it was a pleasure. And that's Will Haire with BellaVix. I thought that was so interesting. And if you want to learn more about BellaVix and Will and all the great work they're doing, you can check them out at dailyadbrief.com. And I'm Charlene Shirk, again, your host for Digital Champions. I hope you learned a lot today. I know I did. And we will see you next time.